Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. Actually, folks, this is the 2-minute warning. Now, Joanne, you're going to be going through the changes? Well, I'll keep that quiet. So I can sing and dance. But you guys don't want to see that, not at all. Welcome to this open house. I'd like to thank Mark for the main instigator for it, and volunteers too numerous to mention. So I would like to give a show of appreciation for Mark and all the volunteers that make this happen. So where did everyone come from tonight? All from the southeast, or do we have some northeasterners up there? We got 1, 2, good. How about northwest? Okay, should have a good show on that. Okay, what about the southwest? Just as good, okay. And what about the southeasterners? Well, there's a few of us. So I'd like to welcome you to this open house. Has everyone had a bite to eat? Was it good? So the one thing I would like to mention is cell phones. I'll even turn mine on silent too. And the next person up here, he's sort of an instigator in himself as well, because he's the main person that allows us to hold events at FLIR. He's been with FLIR for 7 years. And he's a world traveler because he always is, whenever you want to get in touch with him, you know, if you phone him, you wake him up in the middle of the night in India. Go figure. But he was lucid enough to talk to the security guard and have us be able to come to our meeting. So that was good. So with that, I would like to present our next Sergeant at Arms, Matt Fox.
Good evening, welcome, thank you very much for coming, and welcome to FLIR, welcome to MVP. One of the things we do in FLIR is we always do a safety topic. And so I always like to have a safety topic at the start of our meetings here, because we do have a lot of people that have never been in this building before. And we've actually changed it up a little bit for this meeting as well, as you can tell. Sometimes work takes precedence, I'm afraid, but we will be actually moving back to the other room later in the meeting, if you've been in this other room. But for safety, there is a fire exit right here. If there is an incident, either go out this door and gather on the car park, or just go out that way if you can't get through this door, and go out one of the doors into the car park. When we're down in the other building, which is straight down there, and I'll guide you later, there is signposts to the fire exits. Please follow the fire exits if you need them. For the washrooms, there's a washroom straight down the corridor here, around to the left, ladies and gents. There is one in the atrium here under the stairs. And when we go down to the other room, you'll see them just before we get to the main room on the left. Other than that, I think that's all in regards to safety. Welcome again. I hope you have a great evening. It's good to see everybody. Richard.
This is where your well-organized hosts take over. My name's Mark Kolke. I'm the VP Public Relations for MVP Advanced Toastmasters, and I probably invited you, so thank you for coming. I brought you here as a promoter So this lady, Joanne Smith, our VP of Membership, could land the sale. So we'll find out how good she is tonight. Is that my cue to stop talking? You've got a wonderful agenda in front of you and some great speakers. We have a technical issue because our speakers were planning to deliver their speeches in another room that we usually use for big events like this at the other end of the floor building, where technology and big screens abound. And these two speakers, Lana Asachuk and Farheen Akbar, have a thumb drive with them and they need a screen. So we're amending the agenda a little bit. In the first part of the meeting, those two speakers will not speak. We'll run through the rest of the agenda as you have it in front of you. Obviously, we'll be breaking a little earlier than planned on the agenda. And then at the end of the evaluation session where we evaluate speaker number 7, we're all going to have the 7th inning stretch and go for a little walk. We will take our coats and our bags, and we will all march down to the other end of the building, to a big room where there's lots of room for us, big screens, and Lana and Farheen will deliver their speeches. Their evaluators will evaluate them. We will wrap up and conclude the meeting there. So we'll have one move. And now I give you your chairman for tonight, Joanne Smith.
Thank you, Mark. Today you're going to see what this club can do, and it's an amazing club. But before, I guess I don't have to go through the agenda because Mark kind of stole my thunder, and he told you the slight changes that we have. Other than that, there are no changes. I'd like to introduce our club president. He is an amazing man who is truly visionary when it comes to his leadership skills. I'd like to welcome Anthony Sani.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks to every single person for coming out this evening. It's so nice to see a lot of new faces, some familiar faces, and I just want to recognize some special faces in the room, and that's our district officers. So when I call your name, stand up and take a bow. The night isn't over. Anybody know that song, Madonna? No? Just me? Thanks, Alan. Thanks. I thought I was by myself there. So if I call your name, just please stand up to be recognized and take a bow. I believe in recognizing people who are serving, and as a club, we appreciate all your service. So Christina Cruz, our District Club Growth Director, take a bow. Our Area Director, Dinesh, Area Director for our own, there he is. He's our very own area director. Thank you. We also have some other area directors who, some are members of this club, some are not. We have Ray Mulvihill, area director for C17. Where's Ray? Area director for A10, Ray McPhee is in the house. Ray McPhee, where's Ray McPhee? We have we have area director for E30, Randy Mouse. I wonder where Randy is. Oh, there he is. Okay. Randy. And we have our Division E director, Lynette Thuriel. Where's Lynette? Did I leave anybody else out? Do we have maybe a prime minister or something? Daryl? Oh, Daryl, oh, there you are. Daryl, stand up and be recognized, please. Daryl is an area director as well. So thank you to each and every one of you for gracing this occasion. Now I'd like us to recognize the most important person in the room, the reason why the organization exists. Each and every member and guest of Toastmasters. A big round of applause for all of us and for all of you. Without us, without you, there is no president, there is no area director, there is no division director, there is no organization. So thanks for all you do for the organization and for engaging with Toastmasters and inspiring me and each other to be better people every day. With that, I'd like to pass it on to our grammarian, Ben Thorkelson, who will share with us our word for the day. Now, before I introduce Ben, I'll warn you that Ben is very, very skilled with language. I've learned so much from him, not just in words, but actually in origin of words and the meaning of words and creative use of words. So please give a big round of applause for Ben Thorkelson.
Thank you, Anthony. And after that introduction, I have to confess, yes, I'm a word geek. I love words. I love books. And I read way too much. Some people say they're a bibliophile because they love books. I'm a biblioholic, according to my wife. It's an addiction. Anyway, the word of the day is aspire. Aspire is to aim or seek ambitiously, especially for something great or high, or of high value. To aspire after speaking immortality, for example, or to aspire to be like Darlene Davies. That's an in-joke for the Toastmasters. The other word I have comes from the same root as aspire. It is aspiration. It's where you would use a similar meaning as a noun. It's a strong desire or longing or aim or ambition, and it's a goal or objective that is strongly desired. You could say, the championship has been Russ's aspiration since his icebreaker. I can get away with saying that because he's not here tonight. So, as this evening's grammarian / word geek, I will be watching how the English language gets used. And yes, I am that annoying person who counts the ahs and ums. Now, here's the thing. I'm actually an artist. I really suck at numbers. I have trouble counting past 9. Okay? I'm only going to mention it if it gets really annoying. And I'm going to try and be concise. With that, I'm going to turn things over to our chairperson.
Thank you. I know about ahs and ums. I actually was in a training session about 3 years ago and got to the point where I finally had to multiply to figure out how many times the man would say ah and Worked out to 32,000 times over 2 days. So sometimes it can be annoying. But why don't we do something that we all do in Toastmasters? Let's introduce ourselves. I'm just going to ask you to make it quick, tell us who you are, and why you came in 3 words or less. Yes, that's a tough one. And we're going to start out way in the back. She knows I'm looking at her. Yes, Teresa.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Teresa Merrifield. I am a member of this club. The reason I came is because they made me.
Good evening. My name is Ben Thorkelson again, and I came for 2 reasons. I should, and Mark called me.
Hello, I'm Kathy Belenke. I'm with Verve Toastmasters, and I'm potentially looking for another club.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mahmoud, and I'm from 3500 Foot Club, and my aspiration brought me here.
Hello, everybody. I am Dinesh. I am from Inspired Toastmasters Club. Reason why I came here, MVP Advanced.
Good evening, Brock Downey, Water's Edge Toastmasters, recent retiree, and I'm doing reconnaissance.
Hi, Leonard Quilty. I'm a member of this club, MVP Club, and I came because I just love coming to this club.
Evening, everyone. My name's Dave Burns. I'm a member of MVP, and I need practice.
Hello, everyone. I'm Emma Glover. I'm a member of West Enders, and I came because evaluations is where I want to grow.
I'm Ray Mulvihill, a member of this club. I couldn't avoid.
I'm David Saxby. I speak for a living. I aspire to improve.
And my name is Matt Fox. I'm from MVP. I am speaking.
My name is Michael Kehoe. First time attendee. I'm looking for a club. And I came because I am shy.
Hello everyone, my name is Farheen. I was voluntold to come here. Seems like every time I cancel a speech, Mark never gets those emails. He only gets email when you say, yes, I'm doing a speech.
Hey everyone, my name is Kevin, the president of Warrior Leadership. I'm here to hang out with Mark.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Flo Sherpanese. Tonight I'll be serving as your Toastmaster.
I'm Gord Grant. I'm a member of MVP. I'm here because I'm speaking tonight.
My name is Randy Mouse. I am a member of MVP, and I am here to level up.
My name is Daryl. I'm here just to hear some great speakers, and I live in the north, so I guess I should refer lots of people to the south who need an advanced club to go to.
Good evening. My name is Ray McPhee. I'm a member with MVP, and I'm on the agenda for speaking tonight.
Hello, my name is Brian. I'm from visitor from West Enders Club. I came because I heard about the Advanced Toastmasters.
My name is Bobby. I'm a first-time guest. I just said way too many times. I gotta stop saying that's why I came.
I'm Kalinka. I'm from Northwest. First time here. Came out of curiosity. Have higher aspirations. Proceed to the next level.
Apparently you get pointed at as well. My name's Lisa, and it's my first time out. I was invited by Mark, and I came because A, I was curious, want to be inspired, interested in personal growth.
Hi everyone, I'm Kelly Kaur. I came because today is Netflix Rest Day.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Narcisa Mureșan. First time I've been told by my boss I will join.
Hi, my name is Wendy Welty, and I aspire to use storytelling skills in business.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Roger Sutherland. I'm on the program this evening, and I aspire for improvement.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lynette Terrio. I'm a member of Speaker's Edge and Inspired Club, and I came because Randy Mouse.
Good evening. My name is Christina Cruz. I am here. I aspire to advance.
Hello, my name's Tracy. This is my first time here, and I'm just curious.
My name is Laura Harding. I'm from Glenmore RSVP, and I aspire to do better evaluations.
Hi, I'm Margaret Fong, and I'm with Igniters, and I'm here to explore divisions.
Hi, I'm Nandini from Igniters, and I came kindly because Mark invited us, and I came for the friendship, I came for the good food, and I came to grow.
Hello, my name is Marvin Henry. I'm from Igniters Toastmasters and Calvary Advanced Toastmasters as well. I'm here to, I'm always inspired to be a better leader, and you're here to meet all the people and see all the people here.
Hi, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I'm Lana Azacek. I am speaking.
Hello, Toastmasters. I'm Cordell. Kevin invited me,
and 3 words, learn, grow, and community.
Hi, my name is Alan Moore. I'm from Live Ad Libs, and I'm here to level up, leveling up required.
Stuck in the chair.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Josephine Choi. I aspire to be here to learn, share, and excel.
Hi, my name's Shelley Musfelt, and I started this club 10 years ago with Gerda Tim. I am here to grow my Toastmaster family. Some people have left me, and I need more friends now. So please, please, please join our club.
Well, fellow Toastmasters, I'm Joanne Smith. I'm here because I wanted to get better. I have to ask a quick question, though. How many of you, the right wording, have you ever never used a microphone before? Cool. So this is your first. Wonderful. Before we continue, I want to introduce a wonderful, amazing woman who has made it to that semifinal stage. She's done crazy things when it comes to helping out, especially for me, when it comes to my English. She is a member of Mount Royal University, and she's going to come up here and tell you a little bit about something that she has. A little bit. Please welcome Kelly Kaur.
Hello, everyone. I went to the bookstore today and I bought 35 composition books, technical writing books, and literature books for you. All right, brought, not bought. And Joanne has put sticky notes on the back of some of your seats or under them. If you get one and if you want a book, please help yourself to one. If you don't want one, you will not be forced to take a grammar book. If you did not get one, get in touch with me. I will go buy some more. Enjoy.
I was kind of trying to avoid everybody looking for their stickies right away. We'll do that at the break.
We ask people in the audience to note comments for the speakers, and we'll pass around some kind of folder to collect these because the speakers would really value your feedback on these forms. I'll pass them around.
Thank you. So what are you waiting for? Are we ready to have some speakers up here? And of course, to run that part of the meeting, we have to have a Toastmaster. And this Toastmaster, she is amazing. She has told some great stories about climbing and how climbing relates to each and every hard step as you climb up a mountain, how it relates to each and every hard step it is to reach that next goal. I was inspired by her, and I hope you are inspired by her too. Please welcome Flo Sherpanese.
Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? Woo! Right on. We're off to a fantastic start. Let me tell you about our first speaker. Making a difference is Randy's lifeblood. It literally runs in his veins. For example, in 2013, during the Calgary floods, Randy led a team of volunteers who provided emergency housing for over 1,200 Calgarians. Isn't that amazing? As a leader, educator, and facilitator, Randy already regularly speaks. As a Toastmaster for a little over a year and an MVP member for only 2 short months, Randy has already noticed improvements in how he prepares for presentations and his speaking skills. He credits these improvements to the membership of MVP, who have made a big difference in his life through their evaluations and feedback. And in turn, he's applied and used this feedback in his professional presentations, and where he continues to making an impact on the lives of others. As an example of this, he's learning to open up and share more of himself as a way to better connect with the audience. Tonight in his speech, he will be sharing his vision speech for his high-performance leadership project, Coachcraft, a training program for club coaches in District 42. His speech is entitled Coaching Coaches, a project for helping everyday Toastmasters make a difference. Coaching Coaches, a project for helping everyday Toastmasters. Randy Mouse.
How do we level up? Whether it's playing a video game or becoming better speakers or a stronger leader, it requires practice. But what do we practice? How do we know what to practice? That requires coaching. What do coaches do for us? They see in us abilities we may not see for ourselves. They have experience and access to resources that we may not have. They see the gap from where we want to be to where we are now, and they help us close that distance. For my high-performance leadership project, I have been engaged in a project that is exactly that. Across Toastmasters, clubs are in various stages, in various states. Some are thriving. Others are struggling. And for those clubs, we have the Club Coach Program. That is where an experienced Toastmaster comes in, guides that club, and helps them to become vibrant and healthy once again. Unfortunately, the current program isn't very effective. A Toastmaster who volunteers gets no training. There's very little to no support for that person. And that was not acceptable. It's kind of like asking a person to go into a grade 4 classroom and teach when they have no grade school education or no grade school teaching education. They have experience they can share, but it's not the same as having skills and tools for that specific audience. In fact, we know that our club coaches, 2/3 of them are not successful within a year, and that is not acceptable. For that reason, we came up with 3 goals to help our club coaches. The first is setting up the members of the club and the club coaches for success. The second is giving the coaches tools they can use to help the clubs improve. And the third is creating a community of coaches to support one another in this process. As we look at those 3 things, I think about the first one. And coaching begins before coaching begins. When we set people up for success, the biggest part of that is what are we expecting of one another? So we created a club coach agreement. Essentially a document that states that as a club, we understand we will get this from our coach, and we will give this to the coach in return as part of that experience. On the other hand, you have the coaches. This is what they agree to give to the club members, and this is what they can expect from the club members. On its own, it's just a piece of paper. We require all of the officers to sign this, as well as all of the coaches. And that way, together, they can operate in partnership, understanding what to expect one another in order to benefit the entire club. Coaches begin before they coach. And coaches bring tools to the mix. One of the tools we created is called the Club Success Indicators, or CSIs, because we love our acronyms. They're based on 3 behaviors that all successful clubs demonstrate: inviting, speaking, and leading. Successful clubs invite guests regularly, not just for great food like tonight, but to every meeting. And they steward those guests through the membership process so that they make it easy for them when they're ready to join to do so. They speak and they're engaged in their own pathway process, their own development. After all, when someone comes to a club, they're looking for the product. And what is the product? We are the product at the front of the room. And third, lead. You have to have leadership in the club. There are 2 components to any club. There is the club meeting, and there is the business of the club. Where I find a lot of struggling clubs get into trouble is they mix it all up. They try and do it all at the same time, and it's messy. Because the club meeting is its own thing, and you need to pull the business of the club out and give it its own appropriate attention. Only by doing that can the club really begin to thrive. Along with the CSIs, we gave a tracker. It's one thing to give you a tool for behaviors, but then you can track the behaviors and see how the club is doing. We want to know, are we getting better? Because club coaches, as much as they love the club members, probably don't want to be there forever. That's one example of a tool. Coaching in that process, though, can be tough sometimes. Have you ever been through a difficult time? You start off excited, and then it gets hard. And you need something to pull you back up. So the third piece of this program was creating Coach Club, which is a community of coaches that can come together. They can share their challenges and find a sympathetic ear. They can brainstorm and provide best practices. They can celebrate their successes in a community that understands and cares about what is happening. Coach Craft workshops and Coach Club for support and community provide a high-level training program that prove true and create true success for our clubs and our club coaches so that all Toastmasters can level up.
Fantastic job, Randy. Thank you for sharing with us how to level up our clubs and help our struggling clubs succeed. Raise your hand if you know who Clark Kent is. You know, Superman, superhero in disguise. MVP's own Clark Kent is Gord Grant. Did you know that 30 years ago, Gord single-handedly delivered his daughter on the bathroom floor of his house? Isn't that amazing? Well, Gord, as remarkable as that is, I bet your wife helped a little bit, right? Isn't she the real hero in all this? In that remarkable yet unassuming way, Gord continues to add to his accomplishments by always looking for ways to level up or improve. One of the ways in which he's chosen to do this is by joining MVP, where he's been a member for half of his 2-year Toastmasters career. He joined because of the quality of feedback he receives from members. He's learning that it's not always easy or comfortable. In fact, he's learning to become more comfortable with being uncomfortable. An example of this is how he can share more of himself and that a great speech is more than good writing and a good memory. Tonight in his speech, the one thing he wants us to get is to understand the importance of routinely evaluating how our values align. Please help me welcome Gord. Level set your values, Gord Grant.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sir. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. 4 years ago, the company I was working for was in serious trouble. We were starting to circle the drain. And the board of directors decided that we needed an entire new set of leadership. So out of the blue, they parachuted in a whole new team of individuals who were there to rescue us. Desperate times require desperate measures. But I have to tell you, some of the things that they were requiring us to do just didn't sit well with me. My ethics were being hit time and time again. And I was being asked occasionally to step over the line of my ethics. They weren't asking for anything illegal or immoral. I just did not like the way that they treated people. For me, my Waterloo moment was a conference call. The global vice president of sales had a phone call with every sales rep around the world. And this gentleman said to us on the phone, "You need to understand, your customer is nothing more than a wallet. Your job is to empty it, to tell whatever story you have to tell to get the deal." Exactly. There I was sitting on my phone. Luckily, it was a phone call and not a video call, because the look on my face was, well, I can't use the word, but you've got to be kidding me. This is no way to treat people. When I lifted my head from my phone, I looked on my wall. And on the wall, I have the commission that I earned when I became an officer in the Canadian Armed Forces. And in the top line of that document were 4 words: loyalty, integrity, conscientiousness, and honor. None of those words applied to the phone call I'd just been on. 4 weeks later, I turned in my resignation. It was time for me to move on. I knew that there was a serious values conflict between the way these gentlemen wanted to run the business and the way that I, in fact, worked. Now, lucky for me, unemployment gives you a fair bit of time to think about what you're going to do next. Because I had those 4 words that created such a desire for me to just throw it all in and move on, I decided that there was things I needed to understand about other values that I might have, and where they came from and why I had them and why they were important to me. And I looked, I could not really find a document that gave me a complete list of values to pick from. I knew there had to be more than the 4 I saw in this document. And that's what you have on your table in front of you. The values that I presented with you tonight are things that I grabbed from different sources on the interweb. I created that list primarily for me, but it gave me an opportunity to decide what my values were outside of that commissional document. And tonight I'm going to kickstart your search for your values. This is the audience participation time. We're going to do rapid round, pick your value. You've got that sheet in front of you. I want you to have a look at it. And in 3 seconds, pick one word that popped into your mind. 3 seconds, go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, start shouting out values. What's your value? Honesty. Integrity. Creativity. What else? Come on, let's get them up. Everybody needs to understand what your values are. That's great. In 3 seconds, everybody was able to find one. Your values are there. You just got to go looking for them occasionally. In 3 seconds, you came up with one that was important. The difficult work for you now is to figure out what the rest of them mean, because we all have a bunch of values there. And that sheet will help you with that. On that sheet is a list of values that you can not only pick what's important, but you can also rank them. Because not only do you need to know your values, you got to know how they fit together. You got to know what's more important than others. If you get on Google and Google the word values, you will get more information kicked back to you than you could possibly consume in a lifetime. And in most cases, those values are associated with a problem. Most people don't dive in trying to, I just need to know my values. They get there same way I did, because I had a huge problem that needed to be resolved. And by looking for the problem, you pop up the values. It works. But really, wouldn't it make more sense if you put the time into understanding your values before you were stressed and trying to solve a problem? If you know your values ahead of time, chances are you're going to avoid that problem. Or if you are getting into it, you're going to recognize that it's happening and minimize the damage that's going to occur as a result. I'm a big fan of the research that's being done now with understanding values and how they work with endurance athletes. I'm a runner, I'm a cyclist, I kind of get into this endurance thing. And by endurance, I mean the individuals that run 100 miles, 36,000 foot of vertical over 24 hours. Serious endurance runners. Now, 24 hours in any athletic endeavor gives you a boatload of time to think. That's one point. But what they've discovered is if an athlete understands why they're doing this run and they can associate with a value they have, their performance climbs. They get faster, they get better. But most interesting, they don't feel the same level of discomfort. As they're pushing into the latter stages of the race when pain is at its max, by being able to relate, I'm doing this step because it honors some value that I have. It represents who I am. The pain drops down, which also helps the performance that's reached as a result of that. You can do exactly the same thing. Whatever your purpose in life, whatever you're trying to accomplish, you can be more successful if you know your values going in. So take the time to understand what your values are. Your values are the canary in the coal mine. They're your warning system, the bell that tells you something's not working very well. So when you get that feeling in your stomach, or that feeling that something just doesn't seem right, that could very well be your values starting to ring the alarms. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Gord, for setting that compass, helping us to level set our values so that we have that early warning system when things don't sit right with our core values. Our next speaker is Dave Burns. As an entrepreneur, small business owner, and a professional speaker, Dave describes himself as an introverted networker. Did you know that in about 10 days' time, he will be delivering this presentation to an audience of over 100 professional speakers? Isn't that amazing? You got this, Dave, but no pressure. As a way to prepare, he is looking for feedback on what to cut from his speech, things that didn't work so well, but conversely, things that worked well, things he should keep. I mean, consider that this feedback that Dave gets from MVP, this feedback is part of his process in preparing. And consider that this feedback pays dividends in his professional speaking career. So as a member of MVP for about a year and a Toastmaster for 4 years, Dave will be presenting a speech entitled Sales for People Who Hate Selling. Sales for People Who Hate Selling, Dave Burns.
Thanks, Flo. It was less than 48 hours after I'd quit my grown-up job to start my own business that I uttered the words, "What have I done?" I remember the exact moment where I first uttered those words. I was sitting in a park, downtown Calgary, September, beautiful sunny day. Have you ever felt like the floor was falling out beneath you while you're surrounded by normal people going through their normal life? There were couples strolling through the park hand in hand. Children were playing, birds were tweeting, all those things. And I'm sitting there reading a book. And this author, one by one, was unmasking all the assumptions I had about owning my own business as frauds. And the really big one that really hit me was I was going to have to sell. I was a card-carrying introvert all my life, even though I didn't really know that until a lot later in life. I couldn't sell. I didn't think I could sell. I couldn't network. And it had cost me all through my life. It had held back my career. It had affected how I did my job. And here I am reading a best-selling book on how to run a business, and I'm going to have to sell. And to me, I'd always had this crazy impression of what a salesperson was. You had to be pushy. You had to pressure people. You were like a used car salesman. And so I'm sitting there thinking, what am I going to do? Am I going to start slicking back my hair? Sell, sell, sell? It just wasn't going to work. And I knew this. And during my life, I tried to get over this. I didn't quite exactly know what being an introvert versus an extrovert was, but I tried all these different ways to cure myself of being shy, of being introverted. And it came up to a crux where a mentor convinced me to bet $3,000 that I could talk to 150 strangers in 30 days. And just the cherry on the top, the money went to an anti-charity. So this was a website that would take your money and send it to a charity that you didn't support. So I had the extra kicker that the NRA was going to get $3,000 from me if I didn't do this. So I made it. I came out the other side, only just. And the main thing that I came out of that was, yes, I have the skills to talk to strangers. Yes, I can do this. It's not so bad. I don't ever want to do it again. It's just not me. And really, the kicker, when I knew there was no way I was going to be able to do sales, was when I tried network marketing. And for an introverted guy that doesn't really like talking to strangers, that's what I think is going to happen when I go to hell. I'm just going to be walking around, talking to strangers, telling them about the opportunity. The opportunity. Now, around the same time, a study had come out. I wasn't aware of it. It would have really helped at the time. This study was a collection of a bunch of different ones, and basically what it had done is it had studied whether extroverts or introverts were better at sales. The stereotype had always been, definitely in my mind anyway, extroverts are naturals. They like to talk, they're personable, they like lots of stimulation. That was my assumption. But what this actually found is extroverts didn't earn any more money, didn't close more sales, didn't do any better. So was it the introverts? Was it the quiet people that were doing this? It wasn't them either. It was the people right in the middle. Some you might call ambiverts, but basically it was the people that could take those two skills, those two sets of strengths, and bring them into the middle. I would have liked to have known this, but there you go. So as I decided I'm not going to crawl back to my job, I'm going to stick with this business and I'm going to try and sell, I started to work out how I could be an introverted salesperson. How could I do this? How could I take those strengths? This study had talked about the strengths of introverts. It talked about the ability to listen, the ability to deeply focus, stay on one subject and go deep into it, and also to build deeper relationships was another one. So it might be less relationships, but far more powerful and deep relationships. So without really knowing it, just scrabbling my way in the dark, I was starting to be able to do this. And I wasn't able to just stay over there, however. I did have to stretch. I still had to go to networking events and talk to people, but I took the pressure off. Instead of having to talk to 10 people, I had to have one really good conversation. I could start a sales conversation online. I just wasn't allowed to stay there. I had to come back here. I had to speak to people. And I managed to develop something that worked, and I managed to eventually get where that study had talked about, find a way to do that. So what does it all mean? The good news, if you are quiet and you hate selling, is that we have just as good a shot as anybody else. The bad news is, I just blew all your excuses out of the water. So won't you join me in the middle? Thank you.
Thanks so much, Dave, for sharing with us how quality can often be better than quantity when it comes to our communications. There was an there for me there, Brent. Our next speaker is Matt Fox. Matt has always been an advocate of active living. Over the years, he's played many sports from hockey to cricket. And by looking at his height, no surprise, at one point, he was an accomplished basketball player. But after many injuries, Matt has permanently benched himself. Now he considers himself an avid hill walker. Now, when Matt first joined Toastmasters 6 years ago, he described himself as a bumbling wreck, full of nerves when in front of any audience. He was climbing a very different hill. But today, after 6 years as a Toastmaster, 4 of which in MVP, Matt actively seeks out opportunities to speak and share his ideas. Like, what an amazing 180-degree turn. Bravo, Matt. He credits his success to the membership of MVP, who have and continue to share their speaking expertise so freely. So with that support, Matt continues to grow and improve in his speaking journey. He credits individuals like Christina Cruz, one of Matt's mentors, and Anthony Sani, whom he credits with improving his stylistic writing skills. So with this support in mind, Matt continues to grow and improve in his speaking journey. Tonight, the one thing he wants us to get from his speech is that we are not alone in our speaking journeys, climbing our respective hills. With that in mind, let's show Matt our support in his speech, Brothers. Brothers, Matt Fox.
Over there, Peter, I said, looking out into the countryside in front of me. Peter's gaze followed mine, and he stared into the distance as the early morning sun lit up the landscape. No, I don't think so, Matt. Not this time. Okay, I said. We continued to look out upon the countryside and landscape, make small talk, reminisce about what we did last weekend, plan what we're going to do next weekend, laugh and joke with each other to kill time. I paused a moment to breathe in that crisp morning air. It smells good. And I raised my head to feel the rays of the early morning sun warm my face. And I smiled a contented smile. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. That sounds idyllic, doesn't it? But this isn't the scene of two friends stood on a hilltop, overlooking the mountains and the scenery, admiring the view in some benign land. stood in a trench, in a war zone, scanning my arcs, keeping an eye out for the enemy, hoping, just hoping, I see him before he sees me. With no real idea of what's going to happen next. Will I be face to face with my foe in minutes few? Will I hear the rumble of tanks or the thunder of artillery, maybe the screams of attack aircraft? Will I be able to smell that crisp morning air tomorrow morning? And will I ever see my wife and children again? Oops. I should be terrified, but I'm not. Why? I have Peter by my side. And I look beyond Peter, and I see Stephen and John and Frank. And when I look to my left, I see David, Mike, and Stuart. And I realize why I have no fear. My brothers, they make a difference. Do you have your own support network? Comrades in arms, mentors, your version of my brothers, people who've got your back, people who make life much more fun, with shared common goals, shared burdens, people who raise you up so you can stand on mountains. Life in the army was full of those times when I needed my brothers. Tough times, tough situations. When as a group we felt we could laugh in the face of adversity. Just like the time when a rocket flew above our heads, ricocheted off a building, and landed in the river without exploding. Ha, you missed us. Maybe it was bravado, maybe it was strength in numbers, but I think it was that unmistakable bond of brotherhood. Imagine then my feelings when after 28 years I left my military family, my brothers, and I stepped through the doors into civilian life, into the unknown, away from that sheltered existence that is the military life, and into this big, bad world in which you all thrive. I should have been terrified, but I wasn't. I had the support of my family, my friends, their encouragement. And then I came out into this world and I met people, and I was met with a smile and a handshake, and people made me feel welcome. Wow, that makes a difference. And today I stand here at Toastmasters facing one of the greatest fears of mankind. And it's not spiders, it's not kittens, and it's certainly not Mark Kolke. Public speaking. I should be terrified, but you guessed it, I'm not. Why? Because I have my brothers, my sisters, my friends, you. You encourage me, you motivate me, you mentor me. A friendly smile, a kind word, some positive feedback, please, Teresa. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You don't have to have served in the army or gone toe-to-toe with the enemy to find people that can make a difference. Not just brothers, but sisters, family, friends, work colleagues. Anybody that can lift you up from that quagmire of self-doubt and fear. Can you think of a time in the last year, last month, last week, or even today when you were supported by your brothers, sisters, family or friends? Was it the very fact that they supported for you, cared for you, that you were able to hold your head up, stride forward, and smile at the same time? I quote the lyrics from the song "You Raise Me Up" throughout my speech, because those words have such purpose, such passion, and such feeling to me. I'm eternally grateful to my brothers who carried me through some tough times, to my family for being there through thick and thin and for their encouragement, and to you, my friends, for supporting me always. What a difference it makes. You raise me up to be more than I can be.
Thank you so much, Matt, for raising us up and reminding us that we are not alone. Support is readily available. Our next speaker is Ray McPhee. Ray is the quintessential servant leader. Outside of Toastmasters, Ray is passionate about volunteering and working with special needs children and teens. Now, within Toastmasters, Ray has been a member of MVP for 7 months out of his 2-year Toastmasters career. Isn't that amazing? And within Toastmasters, Ray is currently serving as an area director. He has also served as our division contest chair and has recently coordinated a youth leadership project. So you can see how he inspires the next generation. In his speech tonight, he wants us to understand the importance of maintaining our personal integrity. Please help me welcome Ray McPhee to the stage. Who is responsible? Who is responsible? Ray McPhee.
Thank you. The paint on the wall doesn't even match. The kitchen cupboards are not even at the right height. They're not even touching the back of the wall. And don't even get me started on the drywall that isn't even attached to the stairwell. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, I want to discuss with you the situation that I was faced with while building a house in 2003. I was dealing with a builder that didn't seem to care. So whose responsibility is it to make sure that the house that I'm paying for is in good standing? Whose responsibility is it? As I did the walkthrough, we found all kinds of deficiencies within this house. I couldn't believe it. It was my first experience for it, but I could not believe how many there were and how disappointing it was. And I'm not going to mention to you which builder it was. Cardell. In one day, if you can imagine for a second, I had 8 contractors coming in to fix the deficiencies. 8 of them. And this is why I want to talk to you today about integrity and responsibility. Integrity, by definition, is doing the right things when nobody's looking. Responsibility, being accountable for your actions. I would say that was a deficiency in itself. 8 contractors in my house, all trying to tell me, the cupboards are supposed to be like this. The paint's going to blend in. You just got to give it 2 weeks to dry. Well, as a matter of fact, I consider myself kind of a jack of all trades. I designed kitchen cabinets for Canac Kitchens in Toronto. I happen to know that's not the way it was. I mixed paint for an automotive supplier in Toronto. I know it doesn't take 2 weeks to cure. I'd had enough of people all trying to, and don't even get me started on the electrical. I took my frustration to an end. And I told all these contractors, I said, you know what, you need to get out of my house right now. They all left. I think happily, but they all left. And as I was walking around on the main level, I guess I'd forgotten about the guy who was there to cut the railing that was 2 feet longer than the stairwell. 2 feet longer, can you imagine? I think he was a little afraid to come downstairs at that point. Anyway, as he came down, I let him finish his portion of the deficiency, and we got to chatting, and he had made the mistake of saying to me, you know what, people are paying $300,000 for a home nowadays. They think they're getting a castle. As I was walking towards the dining room section, I turned, and I looked at him, and I ran over to him, and I grabbed him by his jacket, and I shook him. Well, at least that's what I thought about in my head. And I said, John, is it? Let me explain something to you. Regardless of price, this is my castle. This is where I bring my family, my children. My wife and I come home every single day. We create memories here. This is our castle. Now, let me ask you something. If you were to drop down in the middle of the floor right now, and there's just the two of us here, do you know what I do for a living? I help save lives. As a security professional in my career, over 30 years, I've saved many lives. My integrity is to do the very best job I can to help you save your life. If I don't, and I took the same attitude as every contractor that was in my house today, you'd at least want me to dial 911. No, wait a minute. 911. No, that's not it. You'd want me to know who to call. You'd want me to be able to perform proper CPR on you. 1, 2, 3. Shh. Quiet. You're making me lose count. Here, 1 second. So, when John actually started to understand what it was that I was talking about, he put his head down. I could see the remorse in his eyes. He understood what I was talking about. I told him about first responders. You expect every first responder to come to your aid. Fire department, ambulance, doctors, to be able to do the very best that they can for you. Why should anybody else settle for less from you guys? And he put his head up and he shook and he said, you're right. And I apologize for my statement. And I said, that's okay. It's awareness. We may not always make the right decisions. That's a given. But we can be responsible and take accountability for what we do. And for me, that is integrity. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Ray, for inspiring us to always do our best to be true to our personal integrity. Mr. Chairperson, are we ready for a 10-minute break? Wonderful. And so what's the time right now? 22. So we will all reconvene here in 10 minutes at 10 to 9, is that right? I was never very good at math. Okay, 8:30. Dismiss.
We need to get this meeting underway again because there's still half the meeting to go. And so if everyone could grab a seat. So hand it off. So has everyone had some more to eat? Some more water, more to drink? How was the meal tonight, folks? Excellent? So with that, I would like to bring back our Toastmaster for the evening. As soon as she finishes the conference with Mark. Flo.
Thank you so much. I'm like a duck, you know? A duck on a pond. Looks calm and smooth, but underneath those little feet are paddling like mad. All right, so the next portion of our meeting will be table topics. Table topics is our impromptu speaking portion of the meeting. And our illustrious table topics master is Miss Shelley Musfelt. Shelley has been a founding member of MVP. Did you know that MVP is over 10 years old? 12, over 12 years old. Was it that long ago? My goodness. Shelley is an amazing evaluator and Toastmaster, someone whom I hold up to a higher standard and someone whom I aspire to be when I grow up. Please help me welcome our Table Topics Master, Shelley Musfelt.
I think we need this. Thanks. That's exactly how I wrote it. So, wait a... Just give me those accolades. Impromptu speaking. Duck. I think Flo said it best. It's duck training. Those feet under the water might be going a million miles. On the water, you're cool as a cucumber. So that's what we're going to try tonight. For our impromptu speaking, Madam Timer will be 1 to 2 minutes. We'll see for our guests, we will see the green light at 1 minute, the amber light at 1.5 minutes, the red light at 2 minutes. At the red light, please wrap it up. My challenge for you is to I'm going to give you a question. Please try to have an opening, a body, and a conclusion. And the conclusion part, Madam Evaluator, is where I'm challenging our folks tonight. Please pay attention to the lights. When you see the yellow light, I want you to try to start your conclusion. All right, so let's have some strong conclusions tonight. Since people in the audience are here for a reason, I'm asking some of our non-members to do some table topics this evening. In no particular order, our first table topic participant, Alan Moore. Hi. Hi, I've not even met you. Not cool. See, we are putting you outside your comfort zone here. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. That's what Toastmaster is all about. It is U.S. Thanksgiving right now. What do you give thanks for? Your question is, what do you give thanks for? Please, everyone, welcome. I don't have these names in. Alan Moore, what are you thankful for?
Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, my name is Alan Moore, and the question was, what do you give thanks for? First and foremost, I give thanks for my family. And my brothers, as Matt alluded to in his story. I can't be anything without my family and my friends who continuously pick me up and build me up and allow me to aspire to greater things. Another thing that I'm very thankful for is just being Canadian. What are the odds of being born Canadian? If you think about it, there's 7.5 billion people on this planet. And I'm one of 30 million that was born in this country. Healthcare? Got it. Food? Got it. Clean water? Got it. An equitable trade agreement? Well, we'll talk about that later. So in conclusion, I have so many things to be thankful for that the time provided, that I've been provided with tonight couldn't possibly suffice in allowing me to share all of that with you. But first and foremost is my family. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan, for inspiring our Thanksgiving thoughts for our U.S. friends. Our second speaker, please welcome to the front, Marvin Henry. Hello, Marvin Henry, who I don't know at all. Never met, don't know. Get your hands off me. All right. Marvin, your question is, we're talking about leveling up this evening. I'd like to know, if you were going to raise your knowledge on something, what would be that subject and why? Please welcome Marvin Henry.
Thank you, Shelley. Well, I'm in IT, so people would think I'd raise my knowledge on technology. But no, I do technology, but something more important to me to raise my knowledge up is health. Health and medicine. So back in May, I had probably the worst day of my life. I was on a bed, hospital bed, going to surgery. And for the first time in probably years, I felt tears in my eyes because I didn't know what was going to happen to me in surgery. I got my prostate taken out. The next day when I woke up, I had again the worst of my life. Because even though I was healthy and recovering from surgery, people around me, for lack of a better word, were dying. Or also trying to recover. So I want to level up on getting better, how to get better health, using things like alternative medicine, using things like things we can do without going to prescribe prescriptions, using things that can help us grow, help us be healthier by doing exercising, eating right. My mom always taught me to eat right and eat in moderation. And I want to be thankful for, like last person, for my family and Nandini and my support I have, because that's what brought me back from my worst day of my life in the hospital. I mean, I had great doctors and great service. Don't get me wrong, the healthcare is great, and that's why I'm here. But the experience of sitting on that bed was awful for me. So that's what I want to improve. I want to improve the health and how to get better in life by working on things like alternative medicine and other things in that area.
Thank you, Marvin. We're also happy that you're here with us in good health at this time. Our third speaker, I'm hoping I pronounced Daryl Desmond. Daryl Desmond? Yes, Daryl. Am I pronouncing that right? Daryl? Hello? Oh, sure.
Before we do this, I'd rather bring up Lynette to speak. As a female aspiring person, I come from the Northwest, and she said she screams at Nose Hill and all the people with dogs look at her funny. I spoke many years ago, about 2 decades, so I'd like you to take her up to speak instead, please.
You know, this is exactly, I'm not kidding, this is exactly MVP at his best. We break the rules all the time, but it's a good thing. So please welcome up, is it Annette? Lynette. Right. Excellent. Watch out in the parking lot after the meeting. You've been in Toastmasters for a little while, right? 4 years, this lady, 4 years. The reason I'm asking is the question's sort of related to your Toastmasters journey. What gifts has Toastmasters given you on your journey? What gifts has Toastmasters given you on your journey, Lynette?
What hasn't Toastmasters given me? That would be an easier question to answer. I was speaking to one of our guests here earlier tonight about why I joined Toastmasters and what it's done for me. And most specifically, what it has done is taught me leadership. I am a self-employed person. I have essentially been an entrepreneur since I was about 2 years old. Seriously, I was that kid making jewelry and selling it at the end of my driveway to anyone who would purchase it. I had a lemonade stand. I made dolls. I have always been self-employed. I continue to this day to be self-employed, and I have never had to lead a team. I have never had, other than a few odd contractors working underneath me, had that experience of that leadership, other than leading myself and saying, get the heck out of bed, you lazy bum, and get to work. So what I have gotten from Toastmasters is the ability, in the safest environment in the world, to learn how to lead a team. I went from, and Kelly can attest to this, she was the president of the club the day I joined 4.5 years ago. I walked in, this shy little, don't talk to anybody, I'm just gonna sit here and nobody's gonna notice that I'm here, and I'll just stay. And I didn't want to talk, and I didn't want to do anything. And she forced me, and she dragged me from contest to contest, from meeting to meeting, and got me out there. And as a result, 4.5 years in, I'm leading a team of 6 amazing area directors and 29 clubs in Division E, and I'm having the time of my life, and I'm working full time at it. And it's really hard. And then Teresa drags me into Coachcraft, and I have gained more from this experience of leadership than I ever thought possible in a million years. I cannot thank each and every single one of you enough, because you've all been part of that journey. So that is what I've gotten from Toastmasters.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Wendy Wettel. Yes? Wendy? Is she here? Oh, she's coming up very, very cautiously. Oh, I see a Toastmasters badge that you're wearing. Wendy, how long have you been in Toastmasters? 2001 originally, but how many years have you been the whole time? Except for 3 years. All right, excellent. I'll give you a choice of 2 questions, because our last speaker sort of answered this question that I was going to give you. That's okay. Why is leadership important to you pretty much was your answer to your question. So maybe you're Karnak or whatever that guy's name is. What gifts has Toastmaster given you on your journey? Perhaps that might be the one that you might want to go with. Please welcome everybody, Wendy.
I credit Toastmaster with so much. When I talk to people about Toastmasters, I can't say enough about it. I'm originally an analyst, and for many years I was very happy behind my computer, and I didn't have to leave my computer very often. However, you start to outgrow that. You know, at a certain point, you start to outgrow it, and you want to do more, and you realize that you need some skills to do more. And so in 2001, I joined Toastmasters, and I've actually been in 4 clubs, one in the U.S., and one in Saskatoon, one in St. Albert, one here. And then I was doing okay. You know, got the CC, started to speak more and more, and the clubs were so friendly and welcoming in each of the communities. It was fantastic. And however, when I became area governor, I think that was a real changer. I don't know who all here has been an area governor. Like the previous speaker said, it takes over your life. I didn't see TV, you know, for 3 months. People had to tell me what was happening on Grey's Anatomy, but it was the chance to speak several times a week that really elevated. And at that time, I got a promotion. And which I wouldn't have had otherwise. And it's just been fabulous being a leader. And Toastmasters has just given me so much from all the different roles that you can have in the club, and the chance to speak when maybe I'm still doing, you know, manager of analytical work, and maybe I'm not speaking as often, but Toastmasters always gives you the opportunity to speak.
Thank you very much, Wendy. Thank you very much. I know this person was in the room, but maybe he's sitting in a different spot. Brock? Did he leave? Oh, that's too bad. How about Kevin Padillo? Oh, from the back. Oh, there he is. Coming up slow. I'm having deja vu. Didn't I call you up last time we had a table topics thing? Yes, I do. But now you're in Toastmasters. How long have you been in Toastmasters?
2 years.
2 years. All right. I know we're at Advanced Club, but I want you to take us back. Take us back. Describe the experience, the thrill of the icebreaker. Please welcome, with the recap of his icebreaker, Kevin.
So let me take you back in time to the first time I broke the ice that I don't remember. So let's start over here. You know, once upon a time, I walked into a Mount Royally Speaking club, where, you know, I was looking into Toastmasters. I wanted to improve my, you know, life with women. So I heard about Toastmasters. The book told me, hey, find a Toastmasters club, learn about Toastmasters. So I stepped into the door. And I just like, okay, where am I at? Along this path, I stepped into my, you know, first table topic. I met a lot of cool people. I was asked them random questions, and I came up to the front of the room, just like I am now, kind of shaking, a little bit nervous, but with confidence, I stepped into my first icebreaker, which was, I don't exactly remember, but it was an amazing time. Yeah. My first icebreaker, it was along the lines of martial arts and who I was as a person. You know, my journey walking the Toastmasters wasn't an easy one. You know, I was fresh out of prison. I was in a young offender center, caught up in trouble, caught up in jail, caught up in gang life. So I stepped into a new chapter of life, walking into Mount Royal University. I wanted more for myself. I wanted more for the people around me. I wanted more for the people that I grew up with who were toting guns, throwing up gang signs, and who were killing each other in the streets. That's what I wanted. So if I look back at my first icebreaker speech, I don't remember exactly how it went, but I remember the whole experience, and I remember how Toastmasters and my first icebreaker changed my life.
Nice job. I just want to highlight this club has our own video equipment, we have our own microphone equipment, we have handheld microphones, we have lapel microphones. Not every club will give you that experience, so that's just another add-on value for this club. Madam Timer, who's our timer tonight? Well, how are we doing for time? Do we have time for one more? We should stop. All right, so I'm just going to recap. We had 5 speakers. We had Alan speaking. We had Marvin Henry speaking. We had Daryl, who gave it to Lynette, who was number 6 on my list anyway. So that just worked out perfectly. Number 4 was Wendy. Number 5, Kevin. And Brock, who left too early. So in a nutshell, that was our table topics tonight. And I'll return control to our Toastmaster. Where is that lovely lady in the lovely blue dress? Thank you, Flo.
For the benefit of our guests, our Toastmasters meetings are always comprised of not only the speeches and the speaking activities, but now it is complemented by the feedback and the evaluation portion. In this portion, this is where we gain valuable comments on how to improve and what we can do practically to level up our speaking journey. At this time, I would like to introduce our general evaluator, Mr. Mark Kolke.
Thank you, Flo. Wants me to use the mic, so it'll be recorded on the video, be on YouTube. It's going to go viral tomorrow. I'm going to break my general evaluator comments into 2 portions. The first portion now, then I'll introduce evaluators who will give their presentations, and then later when we make the big move and have our final 2 speakers evaluated, I'll do the conclusion part of my evaluation. What a meeting so far. I think it's been stellar. We've had a few bumps, but who doesn't in life, no matter where you are? Good plan needs to be flexible, and speakers should always have a second one in their back pocket, but we'll work on that. Our meeting tonight was begun by a guy who stepped up and is a hero today. We were originally going to be in the other big room, where sound isn't an issue. We can get by without a sound system in that room quite nicely, because it's carpeted. The sound acoustics, the air handling is very different there. We had a problem. I was going to rely on Marshall Ennis to be here, but his plane is touching down about now to run our sound system. I reached out to Richard today. He showed up with a truckload of gear and set this up for you tonight, so that's why we have the mics. So congratulations to Richard. And look for him in next month's issue of Gentleman's Quarterly. How about the bow tie? Man, rocking that. Matt, thank you for the safety tip. Good, wonderful introduction by Mark and Joanne, don't you think? Mark was particularly scintillating. Joanne, took the meeting in hand. She's not done yet. She's got more work to do later tonight. Anthony, thank you for your brief comments. We'll hear more from you later. Benjamin, Ben Thorkelson, thank you for helping us aspire tonight. Look forward to your report later and your anal analysis. We're counting on it. What a Toastmaster we had tonight. Has Flo not done a marvelous job? For those of you who are Toastmasters, you know what the role of the Toastmaster is in a contest, in a club meeting, and it's usually pretty pedestrian. Get up, introduce the person, try to get the speech title right, and sit down. And Flo investigated what these people were going to talk about. She rehearsed this, she planned it, she had notes with her, but she was speaking from her own preparation, from the heart, and she gave these speakers what you need in speaking is a great setup. It's like the volleyball setter getting that ball up there so our speakers could knock it home. So congratulations, Flo. I think you did really well. But you're not done yet, so don't go home because you've got more work to do in the other room. My next step will be to call upon our table topics evaluator, Christina Cruz, to evaluate the table topics session. Please welcome Christina.
Thanks, Mark. Good evening. Welcome to MVP. My job is to give feedback. We all know how to do that. Sandwich. So here's what I'm going to do for each speaker. Way to go, what if, and what we really liked. Shelley, as our table topic master, thank you for being so welcoming and friendly. I love the way that you encouraged the new people to be part of our event this evening. The other thing Shelley did this evening that I think was really valuable and shows what we do at MVP is she challenged every table topic speaker to a certain part of table topics. What did she challenge us to do? The conclusion. So if we can concentrate on one part, then we can all learn how to make that one part better. It was terrific. I also liked your comment, Shelley, about highlighting that we have microphones and those people who want to aspire to be big, join MVP. Alan, what am I thankful for? Way to go. Right away you had an answer. My family first and foremost. Anybody who talks Canadian is my hero. Probably most of the people in the room. You had stats for us, and I loved your 3 things. But I have a suggestion for you. I had health, got it. Food, got it. Water, got it. And then you went about trade agreement. It was a good laugh for everybody. But what if you had said, Toastmasters, got it. And that might have been really funny in the room as well. Your conclusion was as strong as your intro. First and foremost, my family. You just flipped it. Really strong ending, and we probably all agree with you in the room, so that's terrific. Marvin, what would you raise your topic on any subject? We all know Marvin as an IT person. Your way to go tonight was your honesty. Absolutely. The way we win people over is with our personal stories, and probably a bit of a shock for most people in the room. We are really happy you're with us this evening. I love the way we learn at Toastmasters. We learn through our friendships, and we learn when people are real. And there's no faster way to gain an audience. You did that extremely well this evening. I loved what you aspired us to try to get better health, and we should all be aware of that. If I could offer one tiny suggestion, you finished really well with saying, I aspire to knowing more about my health, my good exercise, good food. Shouldn't you too? And add the audience as a conclusion, just challenge them. Daryl, you can pick up your MVP membership from Joanne because you're really good at breaking the rules. So we expect you at our next meeting. Congratulations. Lynette started gestures before she even got the question. What are the gifts? What a strong start. What has Toastmasters not given me? It was like we paid her to be here. It was perfect. I loved your descriptions. The jewelry, the kid at the end of the driveway with the lemonade, very visual. She did something I'm not sure I've seen before. She actually sat down with the microphone, you could do it with the microphone, and sat in the audience. I was like, where'd she go? Oh my gosh, she's really hiding. I thought that was genius. That was very clever. You did everything. If I could add one tiny what if, you thanked everybody in the room. These are all the gifts that Toastmasters is giving me. You can gain these gifts too. Join MVP. So you might have just finished and wrapped it up. Sounds like I'm a commercial, but here we go. Wendy, unbelievable. 4 cities, 4 different clubs. Welcome to MVP tonight. I loved your start. With very strong confidence, I credit Toastmasters with so much. And her biggest statement, your funny was very funny, the Grey's Anatomy. We all miss TV, that's why we're here. But the area governor, which is now called area director, changed everything. And I got a promotion. And I think for advanced Toastmasters, we probably all have that little story, and there was a huge connection with the audience right there. So your finish was, from so many roles and opportunities to speak, I have learned. And you might have just finished with, like this. And that would have been strong. Kevin, welcome back to Table Topics. Did he leave? He's gone. Doesn't want my feet. Oh, he's on the phone. Busy guy. Extremely confident. I broke the ice. I loved his start. He had the humor with joining Toastmasters for women. Somebody asked him if that worked for him. And he referred to I was very shaky, just like I am now. My if for him would be not to tell us that he didn't remember. Make up the icebreaker, whatever it was. Obviously, the shocking part about being in jail, young offender, gangs, would have grabbed the audience. My if for Kevin is, we need more. And his story was, I want to change, and Toastmasters has done that for me. Congratulations to our speakers tonight. I give it back to our GE.
Thank you, Christina. Isn't it great when you hear a really strong evaluation? You think, were they listening to the same speech I was? They heard it so much better than I did. It demonstrates listening on a deep level. Christina is a very experienced evaluator. I think she was a district champion once or twice. What she demonstrated is what we find regularly at MVP. It's not a commercial, it's the truth. The evaluation quality in this club is extremely high. Christina might have done better tonight if she wasn't having to hold a mic, so there's a bit of juggling with that, because very often when we use a mic in our club, we use the headset, so we have our hands free. I found a little picky thing for me. We all heard the same speech, Christina. So when you use some of your time evaluating someone to repeat what it was they said, we all heard that, and they know that. So what I look for in a Table Topics evaluation is real analysis of structure and impact. Structure of the speech to give the speaker some feedback, Christina, so that they can, if they were going to get up and do that speech again in an hour, how could they improve it? What would they do to make it a more impactful 2 minutes on the audience? So that would be my suggestion to you for improvement. I think your analysis of everyone was excellent. Our next evaluator to be called upon is evaluating Randy Mouse's speech. And that is, because with the juggle here, I'm confused. Kelly is evaluating Randy. Please welcome Kelly Kaur. She's also a previous district champion in evaluation and humorous.
Good evening, Mr. Toastmaster, ladies and gentlemen. Randy Mouse, you definitely leveled up your game tonight. Well done. Let me then level up my evaluation and give you my feedback. You leave me no choice but to evaluate you on CSI. Content, speech, and inspiration. Where content is concerned, I felt that you met your obligations. You were supposed to share your member plans and goals. We definitely got the information, what you were trying to do, and it was very clearly done. There was a clear introduction, explanation. I felt that the conclusion was a bit rushed at the end. I looked up and you were done, and I wanted more because it was an excellent speech. Perhaps for some of us, or those of us who are not clear, I wonder if you could add 1 or 2 sentences to tell us what HPL is and why you do this, so that perhaps you could inspire us or scare us, so that we will do it or not do it accordingly. S is for speech or speaking. Your performance today was awesome. You were confident, you had a nice smile, and that definitely drew us in. You were passionate. What I loved about your speech performance were your gestures. Did you notice what he did? He said, "Where are we now?" And so you matched your speaking with your gestures, and that slowed your speech down a bit. I wish you did that more, because there were times where you rushed through the speech. For example, at the beginning, when you asked us a question, you didn't give us time to think about it or pause for dramatic effect. And if you had done that, that would have served you in a better way. I also wanted you to think about staging your speech. This is a very interesting room. I'm finding it challenging myself. So when you came early today, I wondered if you could have decided where you were going to stand. And as I'm looking at you, I feel sad for these people who are left out. So I know the challenge, and I wonder that if you came earlier, if you could have done that a little bit more so that you would have been more comfortable up here. I is for inspiration. I was inspired by you. You see, you are the product. You're talking about the club coach program. And I say, I want you as my club coach. And how you did that was you dressed the part, you spoke the part, and you looked the part. So kudos for that. That was done very well. The only thing that I thought perhaps that you could leave me more with was a handout. I am inspired. I want to know more. Give me a handout how to get in touch with you, what this program is about, and that would be your takeaway and my takeaway as well. We came here today to level up. I'm not done because we're going to talk about CSI, and you definitely showed us that club success indeed is going to be the way to do it. Thank you.
Now, we've had CSI, we've had Grey's Anatomy. Are there any other television shows we're going to cover tonight? Thank you, Kelly, for an insightful evaluation of Randy's speech. One of the things that Kelly just did that I think is superb, and most of us miss this, we either give our evaluation presentation to the whole audience, speak to everyone, say, oh, didn't we hear a really nice speech from Randy tonight? Here's what I thought, and speak to the whole audience. And then sometimes we speak just to Randy. And I think an effective evaluation needs to do both. Your evaluation presentation is, of course, to give feedback to the speaker, but it's also to address the entire audience. I think Kelly did that really well, and I don't know what Banana Split has to do with any of it, but it was entertaining. And I think you can see something else in Kelly's evaluation. I see there are some books still here. She teaches English literature and writing at the university level. She's a pretty good writer, she's a pretty good teacher, and if you want to learn about grammar and how to be a better writer of speeches, pick up one of these books before you go. What would I have liked to see Kelly do differently? It's really challenging, isn't it? Here's this really skilled, accomplished evaluator giving feedback. I struggle to find something to make Kelly better tonight. I think it was a superb evaluation, and I think we should all try to be that good on any given night. Thank you. The next speaker on our agenda was Gord Grant. And in the shuffle, who's evaluating Gord? Roger Sutherland. Please welcome Roger.
Huh? No handshake? No handshake. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. And where's Gordon? Congratulations. A wonderful speech. One of the things I really liked about it is how you connected so well with the audience. You really got us interested in what you had to say about values. Now, Gordon's speech was given previously as part of the Pathways program, and he was supposed to use the feedback that he got then to modify this second presentation. He asked me to look out for a few things, one of which was the use of his hands tend to be stuck the last time on the side. Well, I thought that your body language was very appropriate. There was nothing distracting about it, and I didn't see your hands stuck to the side whatsoever. So, congratulations. What I really liked about your speech was the way that you set up, didn't he, the reason for having good values. You used an experience at work which was real, so we could relate to that, and I love that. I like the use of your example as well with the athlete. That stuck in my mind. Because values are very important. You wouldn't know this, but I had intended to give a speech on this very subject, so I learned from you. Suggestions going forward. Just suggestions. Perhaps a little more vocal variety might be appropriate. I know you are using the microphone, and perhaps you were not accustomed to that, and that may have been a reason that you didn't feel you had an opportunity. But I think there was an opportunity to expand with vocal variety. Because sometimes you could have lowered your voice, sometimes raised your voice to make a point, and use some pauses. But you were a little bit monotone, so just have an eye on that. And the major point that I want to leave you with, and I would not suggest that you do something that I wouldn't do. This is what I would have done. Rather than use the engagement of the audience to find their values in the middle of your speeches, which is what you did, I would have left that to the very end and get them emotionally committed to finding good values. And the example I use for that would be Dr. Stephen Covey, who wrote that very successful book, The 7 Habits of Successful People. And he suggested this. If you want to get values, think of yourself sitting in the church hearing your eulogy. What would you want people to say about you? And you will quickly find values that you care for. That's what I would suggest. But congratulations, it made me think. Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster. Thank you.
I appreciate your presentation. It was heartfelt and analytical. I think it stepped a little bit over the dotted line of editing content of the speaker's speech and telling him how to change it. But I think you gave him some really good feedback on how effective you thought it was. And for those of you who are new, an evaluation is one person's opinion, and everyone in this room is going to have a slightly different opinion. To give us their opinion on Dave Burns' speech, please now welcome the elder statesman in the room of Toastmasters, Mr. Ray Mulvihill.
Thank you, Mark. Evaluating Dave is a difficult thing to do. I aspire to be an evaluator, and when I hear his speech, I think, oh, I got some work to do to raise to that level. There's so many things that you do well, Dave, as you talk to us and as you share your story. It's difficult to specify any single one. And it was those things that I saw the first time I heard you speak, and they just continued to be there to impress me. There are some things that you asked me to focus on specifically, and it actually refers to the content. And you wanted to know what was extraneous that didn't need to be part of the speech. That's asking for a lot of detail, and so I would recommend a couple of things. I would recommend, number one, watch your video and do your evaluation of that. It'll help you a lot. The other thing is, after you've done that, I'd like to see you write your speech. And that'll get rid of a lot of extraneous words and even paragraphs. And when I say write your speech, I don't mean write it down. I mean talk it down. So because there's a tendency for us when we start writing that we get pedantic. And so avoid that. Talk it down. Use your talking brain as you write it down, and you will see a lot of things. I thought at times that the structure could have been tighter, and so I'd like you to work on that. The one thing that you were asked to do was to put stories into your speech to the point where the speech became a story, and I think that's all there. I thought to myself, I think I would use a different title. And I think a title that might work for you would be something such as Snow on the Mountain, Don't Put Out the Volcano. Because we can be introverted and still be powerful. Something like that might be a way to catch our attention. And your conclusion, I think I'd like to have heard something about what was the result. We know that it started when you turned your back on something, but we didn't find out where it ended up for you, and so I'd like to see something there. I got on a bench, and I was swirling into the drain, and the whole world is passing by in a normal way. And I started asking myself some questions. I think that could be your start instead of some of the other things that came up. It's always a pleasure, and of course, please smile more. Yeah, we need to see that smile. It's always a pleasure to hear you, and I thank you for what you had to say. Thanks.
Sometimes in Toastmasters, we just evaluate what we see. Sometimes we have a document or a manual or a guideline based on the speech project someone's working on, and very often we also have the speaker gives their evaluator the heads up of what they're looking for. They're working on a speech, there's a particular element of it that they struggle with, and they want to improve. So thank you, Dave, for giving that feedback, that advice to Ray. And Ray, thank you for incorporating that. I would endorse the smile more, positive facial expression, Dave. I was sitting at the back of the room, could have been a little louder, but I was looking more enthusiastic look on the face. And given you're going to be speaking to 100 people and you're selling yourself and your services to that crowd, be a little more enthusiastic about yourself and your presentation might be more effective. Our next speaker was Matt Fox. His evaluator is Teresa Merrifield. Please welcome Teresa Merrifield.
Hi, Matt. Hi, everybody. It's my job to give you something to think about. I aspire to give you something to think about this evening. Evaluation is one of the favorite things that I do here at Toastmasters. But Matthew gave me such a small amount of anything to support him on. So I'll tell you how I felt about his speech. Fabulous opening. We could picture the scene. Over there, Peter. I kind of thought that it would be two little boys that had run away from their responsibility at home, and they would be on a hill overlooking a valley. They laughed, they joked, they reminisce. Breathe in the fresh, crisp air. Now, one of the things you need to know about Matthew's speech is that His goal with this speech was to literally and figuratively use language to increase interest and impact. Do you think as an audience that he increased the interest and the impact with the words that he used? I'm a very visual person, and I could see what it was that he was creating with words. I think that that's a real skill, and I think it's a craft that more of us could work toward in our speaking careers. The thing that I love best is the twist, because he had us in this pastoral view, and then he pulled out what he called earlier to me, my precious, which is his camo helmet. Do they call it a camo helmet? Just a helmet. I'm making up words for you now. My precious. My precious actually gave Matthew a little bit of grief. Props are never easy. And he even practiced how he was going to put his precious on his head and take it off. The takeoff was a bit of a fumble. And it's just something to learn by, right? All of us have tried it, and all of us will try it again, and it's just something to learn by. More word pictures. He went from the pastoral setting to taking us into the war zone. But that's okay. I have Peter by my side. And then he went on to articulate the names of the other people that were part of the brotherhood. And I could imagine the brotherhood, because all of us have a brotherhood of some shape or form in our work. If we're lucky, we have that brotherhood. But I loved the way that Matthew connected for us, connected the dots. And as speakers, if we can connect the dots for our audience, it takes the pressure off them to connect the dots for themselves. And he did. He connected the dots for us to our support systems on the other side. Because as Marvin said earlier, there's always the other side. And it might be some challenge that we face. Matthew's challenge was that he left one area of work and then had to form another band of brothers. Very skillful delivery, Matthew. With your articulation, I felt that you may have been talking around something. It almost felt as though you had a marble in your mouth. And as speakers, we have to anticipate and prepare for bad rooms. This is acoustically a bad room to speak in, because there are no boundaries here. And so our speech has to become really, really sharp and articulate. And you have heard sharpness in some articulation, and you have heard a little bit of roundness or softness in other people articulating. Yours was a little bit soft tonight, and I felt like maybe you had new braces, which is not the truth. It sounded like you were speaking around something. Great close. Great opening, great close. Love it. You raised me up to be more than I could be. And I thought, great. You finished it off with a really strong statement that every one of us can identify with. Love a close like that. Thanks, Matthew. It was a great representation of your skill.
Thank you, Teresa. For those of you who are new, you may have noticed we do something repetitively in Toastmasters. We don't leave the speaking area, the lectern, unattended. And when we switch positions, we shake hands with the person we're greeting or saying goodbye to. This is the helm of our ship, and we don't leave the wheel alone. So thank you, Teresa, for a thorough evaluation of Matthew's speech and its effectiveness, and giving him some good feedback for improvement. I think there's a bit of sucking up there, Matt, telling the audience that you weren't afraid of me. I mean, really, you went for the laugh. It was a cheap laugh at my expense. No, seriously, it was very, very funny elements of a very serious and moving speech. Our next evaluator, evaluating Ray McPhee's speech, is Josephine Choi. Please welcome Josephine.
Good evening now. Thank you for the speech, Ray. Tonight I aspire to use something very simple, succinct, and sweet. And I'll use the same technology or the technique or methodology that is B2B, back to basic. And what are they? What I heard, what I saw, and what I felt. First of all, I can hear your voice. But before we start the speech, I actually checked with Ray, what does he want me to actually pay special focus on. So he said, let's check on my voice. When you come out here, you are pretty confident. You wait for everybody to be ready, then you start your speech. You have a husky voice. So sometimes when you speak, you need to be able to know that you have to look forward straight and project so that everybody can hear you. You tend sometimes at the end of the sentence, you trail off. You know your speech, we don't know. We need to hear every word of it. Isn't that his speech engaging? Yes. Entertaining? Filled with humor. You use the stage space pretty well. From this angle, you probably spot, looking at all the previous speakers, you know that where are the light spots and which are the dark spots. You use it well without going beyond the frame. That's good. And when you demo about the competitor, the paint, you go back, and that's where, because you are looking over that side, your voice is projected the other side, and we can't hear you. And over this side too, when you're doing the painting. So in those areas, just like what I was doing just now, you've got to watch out so that look at them and project so they can hear you. The hand movement. I can do it because I'm holding a mic. You tend to clap your hand. Very automatically clap your hand. There are moments when you think about a contractor, you can do that purposefully. However, do not do that as a habit. Come say here. Open up, talk about it. Because there are so many dramatic situations whereby you can use your hand over this side. When you talk about value, I call the CTA, what is the call to action tonight? You talk about integrity and responsibility. This is where you can play with the voice a lot of times. Emphasize the word integrity and responsibility because the audience needs to hear the transmission to absorb it. You tend to put your speech like a train going on because maybe it's racing over here or your speech. You need to let us digest, remember, absorb. Then we can feel. Otherwise, we are not engaging that 100%. There are times you need to slow down too. For example, you stepped on your joke just now. When you were doing the CPR here, you're looking down, we lost your voice. And you knew it so well because you're racing for the next stage. You did not let us a chance to laugh, but we got to catch you. All the time we got to catch you. So you got to slow down a little bit. Always let us have a chance to listen, to feel. Yeah, that's right, we agree. So it actually make it more impactful. So again, thank you so much for your speech tonight. It's really inspiring, and I look forward to more.
Thank you, Josephine. One of the greatest improvements we've seen in the club in the last couple of years in Josephine is her pacing of her speech. English, as you may have noticed, is not her first language. And she has had a tendency to speak very rapidly and lose the audience a little bit. And tonight I found an excellent pacing from Josephine that was varied. It was fast, it was slow. And interestingly, the comments that she gave Ray, I think that were the most effective, were ones about pace and volume and the cadence of the speech. So excellent evaluation. Josephine, ladies and gentlemen, I know we're running a little behind, but we're having a great time, and we are now going to transport ourselves. Single file, children, no, don't get lost. You know where it is. It's the big room at the other end of the building. We're going to be hearing from Farheen and Lana and their evaluations. Thank you.